a few more people who would join us, but I want to kick things off on this Tuesday morning. Welcome, everybody. My name is Tony Cameron. I'm the CEO for the Maine Tourism Association, and I want to welcome everyone into the first Maine Tourism Association's Tourism Trailblazers webinar series. And we're super excited to get things kickstarted this time around with a great partner, Elizabeth Sutherland, and a quick start to marketing plan. And so we're really excited to be able to offer this benefit. And this is going to be a monthly thing that happens every second Tuesday of every month. In fact, the next one is really easy to remember because it's going to be on 10/10 at 10. So October 10th. At 10 a.m. It's going to be the next one, and the topic will be Internships 101, a blueprint for employer-student partnerships in tourism and hospitality. And keep a lookout every week in the Tourism Insider. There will be registration links for the upcoming webinars, and definitely encourage you all to participate and take advantage of the opportunities to learn a little bit. It's going to vary in topics from marketing tips to HR to workforce development to legislative updates. So keep checking back, and we hope that we can provide everybody with some great information and things that everyone can take home and learn from. And we'd love to hear your feedback as well. If there's different topics that you want to hear about, please let us know. And we'll try to get things adjusted so we can provide great value for you all. Just a couple housekeeping things to move forward with. We have a very busy fall ahead of us with some new stuff and some repeat stuff. And so I want to make sure that everybody is aware of the Mainstay tourism conference, tourism hospitality conference, which will be October 18th and 19th at the Cross Insurance Center in Bangor. And Bailey is going to be including links to all these things I'm going to mention in the chat. So take advantage of it. And if you use the code MTAVIP, you can get a 10% discount to register for that conference. And we're really happy to be a sponsor again for the Mainstay Conference, and we're looking forward to a great time up there. In addition to that, October 25th will be our first ever Tourism Workforce Summit, and that will be at the Harrisseekit Inn in Freeport. And again, there will be a link in the chat box for that, and we hope everybody will be able to take advantage of the information that's going to come from that. The theme of that conference is going to be becoming an employer of choice, and I think that's a great topic and great theme. And lastly, I will mention that MTA will be up in Rangeley for what we are going to continue our Toast to Tourism networking events. And so on October 4th from 5 to 7, we will be at Saddleback Mountain in Rangeley, and we hope to see you all up there to have a few cocktails and to network and to talk about all the things that are happening in the tourism and hospitality world. So lots happening. Hope to see everybody around. As much as we love to see everybody on Zoom, it's even better to see people in person. So those are three great opportunities to network and to better ourselves as an industry. So without further ado, I'll shut my pie hole and I will turn this over to Elizabeth Sutherland, who is a great partner. For those of you who don't know, Elizabeth is the Sutherland in Sutherland and Weston, and she is the CEO and brand strategy director at Sutherland and Weston. And we are so very, very happy to have a great partnership with Sutherland and Weston. And she's here to talk to us about the QuickStart marketing plan. So with that, Elizabeth, it's all you.
Thanks, Tony. Thanks for having me, and thank you all for joining us today. I'm thrilled to be here. I'm going to just start with a couple of key points. One is I am unfortunately just getting over COVID. So if I press the mute button for a second and cough, know that it's not you, it's me. I did manage to, this is my first time around with COVID. I did so well through most of the pandemic, but sending my high schooler back to school was the kicker for me. So that's my lack of perhaps energy, and if I have a coughing fit, that's what's going on. The second thing I wanted to just share was that we're super excited, as Tony said, to be hosting the Mainstay 2023 conference next month at the Cross Insurance Center here in Bangor. And one of the reasons that we're excited about it is because we had such positive feedback from folks last year about how they were looking for actionable, practical, realistic tips and tricks that could be used to make their businesses grow. So we're really hoping that you as well will find that enjoyable if you choose to join us. And because of that interest in actionable and realistic tips, that's one of the reasons that I'm here this morning. In talking with Tony and Bailey, some of the things that we've realized is that there's a need and a desire for some real actionable tactical marketing help out there. And so I'm here today to talk about a quick start marketing plan. So there are many types of marketing plans. Here at Sutherland Weston, we create them for clients. We work with clients who've created their own on a regular basis. There's a comprehensive plan, there's a social media plan. But today we're really going to talk about the Quick Start plan. So a Kickstart plan is really designed let's see if I can hang on just a second, I'm trying to move. There we go. A Quick Start plan is really designed to help businesses who want a simple but effective tool to use to start right away. So this doesn't necessarily replace the value of a comprehensive marketing plan or the value of individual channel plans like a social media marketing plan. However, what this can do is if you put in a couple of hours of work on a morning or an evening, you can develop a quick start marketing plan that will work for your business. So the agenda for today is to sort of go over what is a marketing plan, identify the steps in the plan, talk a little bit about the metrics of understanding whether or not your plan is working for you, and then we'll open it up to Q&A. But as I say that, I just want you all to know that Bailey is sort of monitoring the chat. So if you have a question that is burning that you really want to ask about a particular slide or something I've said, please don't hesitate to ask, and she will make sure that your question gets answered right away, or if it can wait, gets answered at the end. Finally, the last piece of housekeeping that I would like to share is that I'm going to make this deck available to everyone on the webinar today. I will provide the link to Bailey, and she will be able to send it to everyone right away so that you have access to this if it helps you in your note taking. So there are three key things that I'm hoping you will take away with you today. So the first is simplification is key, right? Marketing doesn't actually have to be complex or overwhelming. It is something that many business owners and business leaders do just naturally. You understand that the key to growing your business is attracting new customers and keeping your current customers happy. And so by the nature of your job, you are doing this every day. So, with our Quick Start plan, the goal is really to help you structure something so that you're immediately seeing benefits without getting bogged down by complexities. The second thing is that it's important to focus on the right channels for your business and for the audience that you are looking for. So we often talk in tourism about the different marketing channels and marketing mixes that you can use, and some of them can be really expensive and maybe not as effective for you as some of the more simple tools and channels that are out there that can be really niched down to your particular audience. So don't get overwhelmed by all your options. Stick with 2 or 3 and focus on those to begin. So the third and final piece, and there's going to be a lot of conversation about this morning, is that metrics matter. There are so many business owners that my business partner Carrie and I speak with on a daily basis who don't understand their own metrics when it comes to running their business. They understand anecdotally where people are, how people are finding them, but they haven't taken the time to develop some significant ways to track and monitor their own KPIs, which we will also be talking about later, in order to manage their business to the numbers. And I can just assure you right now that if you are paying attention to the numbers, both your profit and loss numbers, but also your marketing metrics, you can improve your business very quickly. So the importance of marketing. We've talked about this already a little bit, but marketing does three key things that I want to make sure everybody here is thinking about as we talk about a quick start marketing plan. One, effective marketing strategies can help you increase your visibility and brand recognition. There is a reason that Target is well known and other big box stores that might have the same kinds of products are less known in the United States. When you go to Canada, you go to Canadian Tire, and Canadian Tire has a very specific feel, look, brand promise to it that everybody understands. You can buy an electrical cord and you can buy some snacks at Canadian Tire. The second important thing that marketing does is it plays a crucial role in attracting new customers and retaining existing ones. So as we just mentioned before, customer acquisition and retention is key to keeping your business thriving, and marketing is one way to make sure you are staying top of mind. And all of that leads to increased revenue. And a well-executed marketing plan can drive revenue and generate more leads and convert those leads into customers. So, quick start marketing plan. It's a streamlined approach to marketing. Does not include all the bells and whistles. And its key objective is to increase your visibility, attract new customers, and grow your revenue as quickly as possible. We encourage our clients here at Sutherland Weston to use a quick start marketing plan when they're just getting started and capacity internally is low. So when you need to jumpstart your marketing efforts, I think that for hospitality and tourism-based businesses, this is a great plan to use because part of the challenge is some businesses have such a limited window where you can be generating revenue that you don't necessarily want to be spending all of your marketing efforts in the wrong season, but you also need to have it working for you through the right season, even when you're really busy and your capacity internally may be low. So today we're going to be going over the 7 steps of a quick start marketing plan. Identify your audience, set clear, smart goals, determine your KPIs, choose your marketing channels, create your content and messaging that works for those marketing channels, allocate your budgets and your resources, and then monitor your plan. So first on that list, identify your audiences. So your target customer is somebody that you already know. You know, if I ask anyone on this webinar at this moment, what makes your best customer? You would be able to tell me what your best customer looks like. And your best customer is the most profitable customer. So this is the person who comes most frequently, spends the most, offers referrals. These are the folks that you're looking for. So when you're identifying your target customer, we suggest you take 3 steps. 1, determine the demographics and the psychographics of your ideal customer. So are they male? Are they female? Is it a family? Is it a couple? Is it a solo individual? And what is it that they like to do? Are they motivated by the outdoors? Are they shoppers? Do they want inside? Are they foodies? What is it that makes your customer the perfect customer for you? write this down on a piece of paper. It does not need to be complicated. You don't have to create a persona, so to speak. You just need to understand what are the general, and we are using huge generalizations here, right? But what are the general demographics and psychographics of your ideal customer? You may have more than one. You may have three or four, but for regardless, you should just create a bulleted list of what makes your ideal customer ideal. So here at Sutherland Weston, we have a 10-point list, and we have 10 points of what makes the ideal customer for us. And then we have 3 or 4 points of what makes a particular customer not viable at all. Like we just don't even want to engage. And within those 10 points of what makes an ideal customer for us, we have some that are bolded. So there might be 10 points, but there are 3 or 4 that are bold. And those are sort of our must-haves, right? They must have this, they must have that. And if they don't, then we really are going to wonder whether or not they're the right customer for us. So they may not have all 10, but they might have 6 or 7 of our bullets, and they'll have definitely the 3 or 4 that are bolded. So once you've identified that perfect customer, that ideal customer, then you want to consider what their needs and pain points and motivations are. And this is important and something that I often see clients not doing. And so I want to encourage you to think about this as well. So you know what your business provides, but you really need to understand what it is that your customers or clients are looking for. So if your customers are looking for a place to have an ice cream cone on a hot summer day, then if you know that your best price and your best delivery of your product from a revenue standpoint is selling your ice cream in pints or quarts, you are probably not the right business for that ideal customer. Whereas if you found a way to make serving individual ice cream cones more profitable, then that individual ice cream cone seeker becomes a more ideal customer to you. When you are considering those pains points, those needs, those motivations, you also want to make sure that you are talking about your business in that way. For example, back to the ice cream example, if you know that your ideal customer wants an individual ice cream cone, whether it's for themselves or for their family, then you want to make sure that your marketing, your messaging is about all the different flavors you have, all the different cones that you have, and the way that you can put those together to customize the right ice cream cone for anybody who's looking for one. And you don't want to be talking about the fact that you will also sell them a gallon of ice cream or a quart of ice cream on the side. That is not what your ideal customer is looking for. And finally, you can use market research and customer feedback to refine your target customer profile. So we will be talking more about reviews and testimonials later this hour, but one of the things that we encourage all of our clients to do is really understand what people are saying is good about their business and what people are saying is not so good, so that you know what to focus on for good and not for bad. There's a lot of opportunity to use market research in order to identify sort of who are your best customers. And with the evolution of AI at this point, the world is your oyster in sort of coming up with information about potential customers and how and where to find them. So don't hesitate to just Google some questions when it comes to market research. It's okay to Google what kind of person likes individual ice cream cones over buying pints and taking it home, and seeing if you can find some research that's already been done that helps you to develop your understanding of your customers a little bit better. One of the things that we tell clients all the time is to really think about what the big national brands are doing and how they intersect with what you're doing on a more local or regional level. So, for example, if you are if you're a general store near a lake and you know that you sell all sorts of products to folks who come to enjoy the lake for the summer, for the week that they've rented an Airbnb or have come to, Uncle Tom's and Aunt Sally's cabin for the week, then that is the opportunity for you to take a look at what big box stores are doing and how they're promoting their summer supplies. What are the words that they're using to talk about stand-up paddle boards and you know, coolers and beach umbrellas? The words that they use, the understanding that they have comes from tons and tons of market research. And you can borrow their market research by really analyzing how they're talking in their advertising about their products and services in order to sort of leverage that knowledge. My mom always used to say, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. And that's what we're encouraging you to do, is not to steal anything. You don't want to use their words. You want to understand why their words are working for them so that you can imitate it for your own business. So once you've identified your target customers, that perfect audience for you, then the next step is to set some clear goals. So we really want you to think about defining specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound or SMART goals that align with your business objectives. So if you know that your main goal is to increase the number of customers that you are receiving on a weekly basis, then your goal can be set to that particular goal. In order to have clear goals, you have to have key performance indicators that help you track your progress toward that goal. Because when you use a SMART goal, it has to be measurable. And so in order for you to measure it, you have to sort of identify what the metric is that you're going to use. So we're going to talk about KPIs and metrics in just a moment, but first, I want to talk a little bit about SMART goals. So this is an example of a SMART goal for a Maine-based business: to increase the number of online bookings for the Maine Wilderness Adventure package by 25% over the next 6 months, compared to the same period last year, by implementing a targeted social media advertising campaign focused on adventure enthusiasts aged 25 to 45. So if we break this down, we'll start with the S of the SMART, right? Specific. The goal targets a very specific package, the Maine Wilderness Adventure. It's not so broad as to say grow revenue, right? And it also targets a specific audience, which is adventure enthusiasts aged 25 to 45. So these people, these adventure enthusiasts in this particular age range, come from understanding who is your primary target audience, your perfect customer, right? This is also very measurable. The goal aims for a 25% increase on online bookings, which you can easily track, right? You know what 25% is compared to 6 months last year, and you know through your booking software when you've hit that number. It's achievable. Now, this is key, right? This is key. This is achievable assuming that the tour operator in this example has or can allocate the resources for a targeted social media campaign. That makes the goal realistic. If your goal can't be realistic, if it's not realistic, then you need to change your goal. Your goal's too big. So it's not that you can't achieve this result at some point, but you need to break it down into smaller bite-sized pieces so that each piece is attainable. And this is really important, and something that I want each of you to hear. It's that business owners and business leaders, if you're anything like me, and I've met a lot of them over the years, and I think many of them are like me, we all think that we can do just a little bit more than we actually can in a given day. And when you add that little bit more that doesn't get done in every given day because your eyes were bigger than your belly, It grows by the week, and it grows by the month, and it grows by the quarter, and it grows by the year. And so one of the things that it's really important to do in a quick start, jump start kind of marketing plan is to make sure that you are being realistic about what you can actually achieve. So as you're building out your SMART goals, really think about what kind of capacity you have internally and what kind of resources you have to, from a budget standpoint or access standpoint, to leverage outside capacity as well, so that you are creating goals for yourself that make sense. Finally, the last two pieces of this SMART goal, it is relevant. The increased bookings is directly related to the tour operator's business objectives. Obviously, the tour operator is looking to grow its business, and if it increases this package by 25%, there will hopefully be more revenue. Now, if the package doesn't actually make any money, then that's a different problem. But from this perspective, things should be good to go. So finally, the very last step is to make it time bound. So you have to have an end time on all of the marketing that you're doing. It's no good to just market for marketing's sake, right? You'll never know when you're done. You won't know what you've achieved. So the goal here with this example is to be achieved over the next 6 months. So this helps with the measurement. You know when to measure in order to assure that you're meeting your goal because you have a specific time frame. Now, as I say that, I want to make sure that everybody hears me say also that you shouldn't just be time bound. You should just measure rather at the end of your time period. You need to measure consistently and constantly so that you know whether or not to create mid-course corrections. So if I was working with a client and we had a SMART goal that had a 6-month timeline, I would be measuring every 2 months so that we had 2 opportunities within those 6 months to make mid-course corrections on either our messaging, our channels, or our budget if we needed to up our budget or decrease our budget, so that we were working within that time frame. So the reason that you want to do that is because you don't want to get to the end of the 6 months and realize, oh, we didn't meet our goal. Because you could have told that within the first 2 months if you could see that you weren't tracking. You can certainly see it in the first 4 months. And so you have a greater opportunity to achieve your goal if you're monitoring on a regular basis. If you have SMART goals built like this that are easy to understand, quick for you to measure, then the complexity that comes with monitoring these over a regular basis, either monthly or every other month, doesn't become as overwhelming and capacity sucking as it sounds when I tell you you need to monitor. Because it's easy with a SMART goal to see if you are making a difference because you've identified the KPIs ahead of time. Like I said, just takes a little bit of work in the big front end, but it allows you to sort of almost Ronco it, right? Set it and forget it, and then just look at it once a month to make sure it is doing what it needs to do. And if it doesn't, then you move on. So the third step, sorry, the next step in our quick start marketing plan is to choose marketing channels. So you want to focus on 1 or 2. This is a quick start plan, right? We are getting going right away. We are not creating a comprehensive plan that includes 1,000 different channels, that has the work of 5 tigers and 16 individuals. What we're doing is we're creating a quick and dirty plan that gets you started tomorrow. So identify the marketing channels most relevant to your target audience and your goals. Target audience is listed first here on purpose, right? You can't market where your audience isn't listening. It doesn't help you. So don't spend time just because you, here's an example. I used to have a client and he's retired now, so I feel like I can say this, and he's heard me say this many times. He was on TV with a local independent retail establishment, and he really wanted to grow his business, and he felt like television was the best way to keep his business top of mind and encourage repeat customers to come and new customers to decide to shop there. And he wasn't necessarily wrong, but what we learned after working with him for a while is that what he really wanted was for the business to grow, one, but for his friends to see him on TV too. Not him personally, but his business on TV. He valued he valued the comments from his friends and family when they say, "Hey, I saw your commercial on the TV." So if he was hearing that, then he was happy and confident that his marketing was working, even if it wasn't driving new business, because his friends were already shopping at his retail store. So when you are thinking about your marketing channels, you really need to think about your target audience, that perfect customer that you've already sort of identified, what they look like, and where are they? Where do they live? So in Maine, for example, if you're over 35, you are still using Facebook, probably primarily as your social media channel. You may also be on Instagram, you may be on TikTok, but you may be on TikTok far less than you are Instagram or Facebook. If you are under 30, then you're probably on TikTok. If you're under 25, then you're on Snapchat or Discord. You're on something completely different and you don't even have a Facebook account. So if as a business owner, business leader, marketing manager, if you're doubling down on Facebook because that's where you think your target audience is, but your target audience is really 18 to 25 years old, you are missing your audience. You are wasting your time, money, and energy. So really think about where your audience is, not where your friends and family are, not where you are, but where your audience is. And be honest with yourself as you say that, right? Consider the strengths and weaknesses of each channel, such as reach, cost, targeting options, engagement potential. So these are, this is marketing speak for making sure that the channel you choose, and by channel, we mean method, tactic. So it could be television, it could be radio, it could be, and by television, we mean a streaming service, like advertising on a streaming service, as well as advertising on broadcast TV, the local NBC, ABC, CBS affiliates, right? Cost is an important motivator, and engagement potential, right? So if you are sharing your information via a television commercial, a traditional broadcast television commercial that's taking place during the news hour on News Center Maine, for example, then there is a cost associated with that is specific and concrete. There's very little engagement potential, right? People do not see that spot and comment on it. So you need to understand, what is the strength of that for you? Is it the broad awareness across the entire population? Or is it the ability for somebody to comment back to you that is really going to drive the growth that you're looking for from your SMART goal? And then finally, you want to select 2 or 3 channels that you think have the highest potential to reach and engage your audience effectively. So if we circle all the way back to the ice cream shop that we talked about earlier, then the 2 or 3 channels that have the highest potential for some place that's selling ice cream, individual ice cream cones to families and couples and individuals, is probably doesn't need social media engagement where people are commenting on the ice cream. That's great, and it keeps the sort of social media presence going, but it doesn't necessarily drive somebody to the shop to eat an ice cream. Now, what might drive somebody to the shop to eat an ice cream is a promotion that is being offered, that they could hear on television or radio or social media. So when you're thinking about how you're choosing your marketing channels, you also need to be thinking about what those marketing channels need to do for you. right? How can your customers react with you? How can you get them to buy from you or to book from you based on what they're seeing, reading, hearing, listening to? Then you want to develop your content and messaging. So the content and messaging are crucial to connecting your target audience with your brand effectively. And you want your content to create compelling and engaging stories that resonate with your target audience and drives them to make a decision. And those compelling and engaging stories vary based on the channel that you use. So you need to think about your audience, your goal, the channels that you've chosen, and then you're going to be developing your content and your messaging. A lot of businesses take the time to really develop their content. They think about their messaging in this global perspective without really taking the time to narrow it down and make it very specific to the channel that they are going to be sharing it on and the audience that they're going to be sharing it to. And so my challenge to you is to start with the audience that you're going to be sharing with, the channels that you're going to be sharing with that to them, the channels that you're going to be sharing with on rather, and then develop the messaging so that if you know you're talking to a 30-year-old mom of toddlers who's looking for a safe place to spend the weekend camping, then with kid activities, then you know right then what it is that you're going to be talking about. So then you think about the channel that you're going to be using, the method that you're going to be using, and let's say it's social media, then you know then at that point who you're talking to, what you're going to talk about, which are all the kid-friendly options that you have at your campground. And you know that the best way to do that is probably not through sound, but rather through pictures, because you're going to be doing it on social media. And then you want to ensure consistency in your messaging across all marketing channels to establish brand identity and build trust. So I'd say this because we've just spent a whole bunch of time about talking about how you really want to niche down each component and so that it's nice and tight and specific to the audience and the channel and the message that you're trying to get off in order to achieve your SMART goal. But what you have over here can't look completely different than what you have over here. Because if you do that, you begin to look like a garage sale instead of a comprehensive, cohesive brand. So if you think of some of the bigger brands in the market, let's just pick a big box store. Like we talked about Target. So let's talk about Target. Everybody recognizes that little Target bullseye, right? They use it consistently wherever they are. And they're in their advertising, they have this sort of super white, crisp feel to everything they do that also resonates across all of their channels. It doesn't matter whether it's social media geared towards back to school moms or whether it is general public advertising geared towards the Christmas rush, right? They have a look and a feel that is uniquely Target. And so what you want to do is make sure that you have a look and a feel that is uniquely you. Doesn't mean that the messaging won't change. Doesn't mean that the point of view won't be very specific to that target audience that you're looking to talk to for that SMART goal. But there has to be an overwhelming foundation of what your business represents for that entire audience. I hope everybody's still with me. So the next step in the QuickStart marketing guide is we're going to talk about budgets and resources. So now you've got your audience, you've got your SMART goal, you have your KPIs, you've got your messaging developed, you have your channels identified, you have everything you need now in order to think about budgets and resources. So you need to allocate a realistic budget for marketing activities. It is fascinating to me sometimes how how much folks don't pay attention to marketing. You cannot grow your business without new customers. You can't get new customers without marketing for new customers. You have to have an identified marketing budget for the activities that you need to do in order to grow your business. You just have to. Now, it doesn't have to be big. It really doesn't, but it has to be realistic. So you cannot do a television campaign to the other 49 states, or at least the 47 states in the contiguous United States, without spending millions of dollars. Probably not realistic. So when you're setting your budgets, when you're setting your goals, you need to understand that your budget and your resources need to be intertwined into that conversation from the very beginning. So one of the ways that you can do that is to really start by identifying the tools, the software, the technology that you're going to need in order to execute your marketing plan, and also to really think about what kind of capacity and resources you have internally and externally to help you. So if you've got staff who have capacity and capability to manage marketing for you, then that is less money than you'll have to spend on an external resource like an agency or a marketing professional that you outsource things to. If you don't have staff who can do that, either because they don't have the capacity or they don't have the capability, then you really need to think about what those costs are when you're choosing your channels and your tactics and your approach to marketing, so that you're not setting yourself up for failure. $500 can do a lot of good for you on social media. $500 can do some good for you short term on a radio station if you're looking to attract local people to a single event. $500 won't do much for you on television. It won't do much for you in print, and it won't do much for you if you have to share that $500 with a marketing professional outside of your organization, rather than using it to solely put towards Google AdWords, for example. So really think about what a realistic budget is for you as you are thinking about all of these pieces. So now we're going to talk about metrics. And we're going to talk about metrics because one of the things that the only way a marketing plan works for you is if you understand what you're looking to achieve, and you can then monitor with enough clarity so that you understand if you're achieving it or not. Otherwise, you're just wasting time, money, and effort. And we don't want you to do that. So metrics are quantifiable measures used to track and assess performance, right? Everybody understands that. We have a lot of clients who talk to us about what kind of metrics can they use. It's overwhelming, right? Like everybody talks about pay per click or cost to return. It gets very sort of in the weeds very quickly. So we're going to talk a little bit today about KPIs and how to identify them, how to use them, and how to not be scared by them when people are using words that or acronyms that seem misunderstandable. So metrics matter because when you measure the return on your investment of your marketing advertising, it can justify your budget. So if you know that you're spending $10 every day on your advertising, but that you're netting $50 from that $10, you'll probably spend it all day, every day, and maybe even increase it. But if you increased it to $20 a day, but you were still only making $50 a day, then you would begin to say, okay, I was more profitable $10 ago. So you'll know at that point that it's time to decrease your budget. So in order to be able to tell those things on a regular basis, you need to have those KPIs set so that you can measure it. Key performance indicators, KPIs. So this is the definition. I am sure you all know exactly what I'm talking about when I say KPI, but I really just wanted to make sure we all were on the same page. So KPI is like a scoreboard in sports. You watch the score, the time, or the player stats to know how your favorite team is doing. KPIs tell you how your marketing is doing. They're specific metrics that help you understand if you're hitting your targets or need to adjust your game plan. By tracking these metrics, we know whether our marketing strategies are winning or losing and what we need to do if we need to create a new game plan. That is what a KPI is, scoreboard. And it tells you how you're doing in that specific moment. You don't have to wait to the end of the game. You can see it right away. So the SMART goal that we had earlier in the webinar about the main adventure package that our tour operator was looking to grow. Here are some key performance indicators, KPIs, that they could use in order to track whether or not their marketing was working. So the first is they can track the number of online bookings for Maine Wilderness Adventure, that package. This is the most direct KPI they can do. If they did nothing else, this would tell them whether or not their advertising was working, because they would be able to see in terms of bookings if they are actually increasing by 25%. The second is conversion rate. So they can monitor the percentage of users who take the desired action. So they can see how many people come to the booking package page versus from a social media ad. They can see how that happened, how many people. And they can do this because most social media channels already have a tracking mechanism built in them. So you can identify from Facebook or Instagram or a TikTok or LinkedIn whether somebody is clicking onto your booking package, how many clicks, how, if you use a direct email client like MailChimp or Constant Contact or something similar, they also have the ability for you to tell how many people clicked on that page. Cost per acquisition. So this is also something that sounds complicated, but is actually fairly easy, right? Calculate the average cost spent on acquiring a customer through your advertising campaign. I'm spending $500 this week. And how many bookings did you make this week? And I made 5 bookings. So 5 bookings, $500. It was $100 a booking. It's very quick and easy for you to determine if that is profitable because the booking is worth $1,000, or it's not profitable because the booking is only worth $125. The lower the number for cost per acquisition, the more valuable the customer is for profitability. 4, click-through rate for social media ads. You put an ad on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, people click through it. You can count the number, but you don't have to count the number. The social media channel will count the number for you. But you can see if your copy and your visuals are effective. The higher the click-through rate, the better you are and the more that your ad is compelling to your audience. These next 2 KPIs are not as closely tied to your SMART goal, but they are ways that you can sort of track the effectiveness of your marketing overall over time. So while not directly tied to bookings, social media engagement, like likes, shares, comments, are indicators of your ad's overall effectiveness. And for some folks, this is really important. If it is, for example, if you are looking to get this Maine Wilderness Adventure package sold, but you're booked through, because you're very good at your job, you're booked through July of next year, so you're not reopening and you haven't opened August yet. Clicks, shares, likes, comments will let you know that people are still very engaged and interested and that your ad is working, even if you aren't taking new bookings. We worked with a client for a number of years who would put an offer out and advertise, like They wasn't a discount, it wasn't a promotion. They would just advertise their offering, and they would be inundated. Their phones and emails would be inundated with potential clients, and they would very quickly be 3 or 4 weeks out with being able to go. They had a home service business, and they would be 3 or 4 weeks out before they would be able to go into that home and do an assessment and give somebody an actual price. And so for them, knowing that happened, they didn't want to advertise all the time because they didn't want people disgruntled because they had to wait 6 weeks in order to get a price because they just saw their ad. So instead, they would pulse those ads out every few weeks or so to keep the lead generation happening and to keep that pipeline full, but not to disappoint people early on. And one of the key ways to keep their awareness level in the market high without making people sort of race for the phones was to keep their social media presence active and engaged, but without specific offers or calls to action, right? And then finally, web traffic from social media. Tracking how many visitors the social media campaign directs to your bookings page can offer additional insights. You can see where they're coming from. You can see if they match your perfect target audience that you've identified, because there are all the tools out there these days to sort of identify where somebody's coming from and what that person generally looks like. We have 2 different sessions during Mainstay that really talk about this specific, like sort of how you can tell where people are coming from, who they are, what they look like, not physically, but in those sort of general demographic and psychographic mindsets. And people are always really interested in this. And with the advance of the AI tools that are available right now, and they're getting better every day as we speak, they are getting better. You'll find that these are really making a difference in the market. So you can do this yourself, right? I'm quickly running out of time. So just to wrap up, identify your audience, set your SMART goals, determine your KPIs, choose your marketing channels, create your content and your messaging for those marketing channels for that audience, allocate your budget and resources, and then monitor, monitor, monitor. Thank you. And now we have a few minutes left, so I'd love to open it up for some questions and answers.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth.
Sure.
I do love that you mentioned about choosing your marketing channels specifically for where your audience is, because I think we're all guilty of feeling like we have to be everywhere all the time and then feeling burnt out or feeling like we're not doing enough, when really we can kind of take a step back and choose 1 or 2 and try to do those really well. So that was great advice.
So true. Yeah, thank you. But you're absolutely right. That is very common.
So I don't see any questions yet. I'll give it another second. But I did want to mention that these are recorded. So everyone will get the link to this, and I will be saving them monthly in a little database that I'll be putting into the Insider as well. So if anyone wants to refer back to this webinar, they can. And you said you're going to send your slides over. Oh,
Yes.
Let's see. Talk to me about TikTok. How do you market on TikTok?
That's a great question. So if the question is sort of how do I market, like how do I get started on TikTok, we can talk a little bit about that. If the question is more specific, like how do I specifically set up a TikTok advertising account, then there are tutorials for that. And the resources that I can point somebody to, and just let me know afterwards, and I'll be happy to share those with you. But in general, when you are using TikTok as an advertising tool, you want to keep in mind that it's video, 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 right? You need to have, you can't just put a slate up there. This is a video driven tool, people are expecting video and they will slide right past your ad or your content if it is not a video. It needs to be entertaining. So get your funny on, right? And understand that people are looking for authentic, genuine content. So unless you have the kind of budget that allows you to hire a national or international celebrity, what you really want to do is be as authentic and genuine as possible. One of the great ways of increasing your ability to advertise your product or services on TikTok is by using TikTok influencers. And so one of the things that you can do is take a look at who is your target audience and what do they look like on TikTok. So if you had your target audience and you were like, okay, the perfect audience for me is a 30-year-old mom with toddlers who also likes fashion, then you can do some TikTok searching and find influencers who are 30-year-old moms or in their 30s, right? With toddlers who like fashion. And you could reach out to them, share your product or service, and ask them if they would give it a test drive and maybe give it a review on TikTok. It's a great way to sort of dip your toe into beginning to use TikTok for promotion.
There was a follow-up to that question as well.
Sure.
Specifically, does TikTok offer advertising? Like Facebook, you can do boost posts, like run ads. You know, what is
Yes,
TikTok?
it does. But yes, TikTok does specifically offer advertising. And much like all of the other social media channels that offer advertising, you sign up for an advertising account, you can enter in some key information, and it will help you to sort of place your ads in the right spaces on the For You pages of the audience that you're looking for. But this is where it's really important for you to understand who your audience is and who you're looking for, because advertising on any social media channel, whether it's Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, will be challenged by, the challenge is you need to know where your audience is, not where you're going to see it, right? If you see your ad, you've just lost money because you've spent your ad for you to see it. Unless you are your target audience. But if you want to make sure that your target audience are the ones who are going to be seeing this. So really think carefully about how you describe your target audience. The setup is very much field driven. So they'll say, what are your keywords? Who are you looking for? Where do they live? What do they do? And what are their interests? And you can enter all that information and it will make recommendations for you that you can trust.
Great, thank you.
Sure.
Let's see, I hope there's a follow-up. Part of my market is 21 to 25-year-olds looking for unique alcohol experiences, outdoor adventures, and vacation stories. That was the person who was talking about TikTok.
Oh, yeah, so that's great. So TikTok is perfect for you. Yes. So it's, and also I think probably the Reels would also be good for you, right? Like, so Instagram and TikTok would be where I would be doubling down for that particular audience, for the particular interest. And you want to start storytelling first, right? Tell the story of people who look like that, who want that. Have them tell their stories on TikTok and or Instagram for you under your channel. Or tagging you in their own channels. And it should help grow your awareness and influence on those channels as well.
And I have a follow-up question. If someone were to work with, let's say, Sutherland Weston or a company like yours, can you help people find influencers? Yes,
sure. I think, yes. So there are agencies there. So welcome to the world of marketing today. Welcome to the world of today, right? There's somebody who will do something for everybody, regardless of what it is. There are certain agencies that focus solely on influencer marketing and actually have a library of marketing influencers for different categories and products and services that they share and can use. It's sort of like the old-fashioned speakers bureaus of days gone by. But there are also many agencies like Sutherland Weston who work with influencers in certain industries, have an understanding of how to reach out to them, have a better understanding. So working with an influencer can be complex. It's more expensive than many people realize. And there are very specific things that get written into those influencer contracts in order for things to be valuable to both the advertiser and the influencer. So paying attention to that is something that takes some thought and some consideration, and it never hurts to at least have a conversation with a marketing agency or a marketing professional who has done it before, who can help you sort of navigate that, especially in the beginning.
Awesome. Yeah, it's super helpful. At this time, I don't see any more questions, but thank you so much for joining us today. The information has been super helpful, so I hope everyone enjoyed it. And we will send the slides and the recording to everyone as well.
Great. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate being here. I did want to just mention, as people are leaving, that we have additional resources on our website. I've put up a QR code here, and there's an opportunity for folks to sort of find more resources and individual help in our learning center.
Great. Thank you so much, Elizabeth.
Thanks a lot, Bailey.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.